Alright. Carbon Cub SS again. I got all the control surfaces in the innermost hole on the surface. Of course, there's a linear surface, so there's nothing to change there. So this is as much throw as you can get out of it, I guess. Now we can easily launch inverted with more battery power on hand. So just try this again, see just how tight we can turn it. That's about it, because anything more you just loses altitude. But yeah, I'm thinking that's AS3X. That's kind of doesn't like it flat spinning, and it kind of tends to want to flatten it out or straighten it out. But I want to get into flat spin. I did it before, can't do it now. It's too close to the ground anyway. But yeah, it gets to a certain point, and then the AS3X just says nope. I think that's what happens, because it just suddenly shoots straight out. It's not like it keeps going. It just goes spinny, 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 and then whoop, out. Real quick, all by itself. I'm thinking the AS3X just decides that it should not spin, and decides that, hey, we should fly straight instead. Wind is blowing a little bit too. Oof, trying to knife edge, but there it goes. That wind is kind of blowing a little bit. I think that's what it is, at least. It doesn't want to maintain, really. Oh, no, never got flying again. I held it a little too long. It went into a nice flat spin. I was like, ooh, so I just hold it there for a bit. But I should have ejected from that a little earlier. Need more altitude to recover. See if I can get it going into a spin quicker and sooner. No, see that? It fell out of it and then came back into it. And I'm thinking that's AS3X just messing it up. And it never actually flattened out. What is the trick to flatten it out then? Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It wants a little bit of... Like I say, it wants a little bit of throttle, but not much. I think it's just a matter of getting just the right amount of throttle and it flattens out. Oof, now that. That was just everywhere. Yeah, the AS3X just fights at times. It decides like, no, this shouldn't be happening. Because this is not what the sticks is telling the controller that should be happening, but that's not true, because that is exactly what I want to happen. Even though the sticks say one thing, I actually want the plane to do something else. Oh, can't turn it. Didn't have the speed altitude to turn it sharp enough. Had to go behind me there. But yeah, now just flying without gear, this thing is pretty agile. I pretty much had floats on it for the longest time because there's such a pain in the ass to get on and off. I just left them on, and every time I flew with floats. But since I took the gear off, I thought it was a phantom driving marker. I passed that one right there, and I thought there was another one right here, so I kind of made a turn. Turns out there wasn't one, so I didn't even have to try to avoid it. I think it was going slow, and I had to make a sharp turn there, and that was not something I enjoyed doing. Flying with full flaps here, which on this plane really isn't a whole lot of flap anyway. Yeah, I got those driveway markers. Oh, I want the porpoise on me now. It's a fine line between climbing and maintaining. I've got to give it some down elevator, compensate. Oh, fly plane, fly, fly, fly. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a fine line when you go that slow. You move the throttle a tiny amount and it climbs, and you move a tiny amount back and it dives. Alright, inverted under the tree again. So I got those branches hanging down pretty low, and they're so hard to see. — 30 seconds, yeah, but last time I flew it 14 minutes, so I'm not sure what the timer starts out at. I'll just fly until it complains about low battery, which might be a while. I'm thinking this is pretty much a good FPV plane to fly around the yard because it's pretty nimble. Well, I mean, you don't hit branches that are hanging down. I was thinking I was behind those, but I was apparently right in them. Anyway, I have to say it's pretty nimble. At least without a camera and extra battery, I guess. With that stuff on board, it gets heavier, not quite as nimble. But it's also small enough that it fits into smaller gaps. I think something is up with that prop. You nicked it. Let's see if I can land it here. Check that prop real quick. I don't think I nicked it any. Might just be ice on it. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit nicked on the very tip. Nothing too bad though. Oh, it'll fly. Ooh. I was kind of looking where I was going instead of where I was, and the ground crept up on me. I had to look ahead to see where the trees were, and ooh, now something is wrong. I've got the rudder stuck. My rudder is stuck because the rod slipped on the horn there. There we go. under that tree over there. Very hard to see though. Where I'm at, see, and where the plane is at. So hard to see the ground. Like I said, the trees are so hard to see. I thought that was further away until I turned it and I realized, oops, it is much closer than I thought. Abort the turn, try the other way, but that's not going to work either. Now the motor is loose. The motor is loose, just flopping around in there now, so this will be interesting. And the elevator, or the rudder is stuck again. Come on, rudder. Pop loose. There we go. We'll see how it flies. Not very good. Gotta fly less than half throttle anymore. It just starts vibrating. Hey, half throttle is fine. We'll fly at half throttle then. Let's see if I go behind that tree and nope. Oh, I was so close to. I just barely had caught the back end of that. And that just barely caught it. You can see where the plane is at compared to the tree here. When I was flying here, there's the plane and here's the tree. I got that by 2 feet. Anyway. Can't see. But yeah, that motor was just kind of flopping around in there now, so gotta fly careful. Oh, who does that? Come on, can't you fly too careful? We got some branches on the burn pile over there. Ooh, tree. It's kind of like flying FPV without the FPV part. This is how I fly with FPV. Under trees and around trees and... Oh, I did not want to fly inverted at all now. I think the loose motor is just not cooperating for inverted. Because that isn't something it did not want to do at this point. Very ill-behaved inverted. See why it shouldn't be. Let's try that again. First part of it might just be that I can't give it all that much throttle. Might not be enough for the fly inverted. That was full throttle. I didn't have enough altitude to roll it upright, so I had to kind of try to fly that out. And the terrain was climbing and the plane was descending. That just wasn't going to end well. God, I can't see the ground though. I'm standing above the plane and it's so hard to see. Ooh! I heard a prop hit the ground there. It's just so hard to see the altitude. Very hard. ground again. Yeah, climbing here. When I'm going this way, the ground actually comes up and meets the plane. This might just be the most fun. Ooh. I'm gonna say most fun I ever had with this plane. Other than flying the FPV, I guess, which might be considered a little bit more fun, but at least the second most fun I ever had with this plane. Zipping around under the trees. Yeah, it's so hard to see where the trees begin and end, though. I lost a retainer for the wing struts. It's probably right around here somewhere, but good luck finding that, I say. So we'll just glue it back on when the time comes. These leading edges is kind of getting rough. Should still fly. Yeah, I didn't really fly this plane all that much when I had it. Just like I said, I kind of kept the floats on it because I flew it in winter, and obviously wheels in the winter on a tiny UMX plane, that's just not going to work. So I put the floats on it. Once I put the floats on, I just did not feel like taking them off because it's a pain in the ass. So floats were always on. So anytime I flew it, fluid floats. So it was kind of heavy and, you know, kind of flew like a cub. And where's the fun in that? So, but now with no gear on it, it's actually pretty nimble and fun. And it's so small that and light that it doesn't really crash hard at all. So you can fly it way down low and in and under the trees and. Ooh. Oh, running out of power. Hit an LVC there, so we'll flap it here and let it glide into a landing. Glide. So how long was that? That was nowhere near 14 minutes, was it? Well, maybe it was. It says 18 on the video here, so that's of course walking around getting the plane and such too. So, but yeah, I get long flight times out of this thing suddenly. I guess maybe I did before too, but I just landed it before, just so I wouldn't run out of power. But now I'm kind of flying without gear and everything, doesn't really matter to run out of power. Just plop it on the ground and good to go. And if with the gear and everything on, you couldn't really do that because the gear would just rip something off. Especially with the floats on it. Gear, I guess, wasn't too. The wheels, I guess, wouldn't be too bad. But the floats, you couldn't just plop it down and anywhere. But the floats would rip off. So, yeah, with no gear, it's a go anywhere plane, land anywhere plane.